Morning everybody, I hope you're all well. These are just a few thoughts about the Metta Bhavana meditation practice and why it's particularly helpful and important in these very changed times that we're all going through. So this is particularly for people who already know the practice. If you're interested in learning the practice, then go to our YouTube channel, Newcastle Buddhist Centre, where I've just posted an introduction to the practice. There's been massive changes to all of our lives, and I think probably most of us are still somewhat reeling from that. Perhaps though, as time goes on, we can begin to find our feet, begin to find a routine of what works. Some of you might have seen Padmavadra's talk from about 3 days ago, talking about how to practice the Dharma in a time of fear. And one of the things that he suggests that we all do as the Triratna Buddhist community is to practice the Metta Bhavana every day. This struck me as just a really positive idea, and certainly for those of us who come regularly to the centre, I'd like to suggest that we all try doing that. Because it helps ourselves and it helps others. So here are just a few things as to why I think it's so helpful and so important in these times. Firstly, and very obviously, we're all isolated much more than we were. A lot of us are isolated in our own homes or having a lot less social contact. So the Metta Bhavana, where we bring to mind ourselves and other people, just keeps that heart connection alive. It means that we're not going to kind of retreat into our own little bubbles. The second point is that the Metta Bhavana is just a really good reminder to look out for ourselves. It's very difficult times. A lot of us are experiencing perhaps anxiety about our own health, anxiety about the health of people close to us. A lot of people are feeling very isolated, cut off from usual sources of support. So it's just really important that we have a time each day where we really tune in with ourselves, really sort of think what we need in that day. The third thing is that the Metta Bhavana frees us up from the prison of kind of exclusive self-concern. So it's a very important part of the Buddha's teachings, in a way it's the whole of the Buddha's teaching, is that we suffer if we turn inwardly too much, if we just get preoccupied by ourselves, our own little lives. That really the way to be happy is to look beyond ourselves, look to those people around us, to neighbours and further afield. That's actually what is going to make us happier. And also just on a practical level, we just need to think about looking after ourselves in terms of nutrition, exercise, social contact, finding really what works in terms of looking after ourselves in this new routine. Fourth thing about the Metta Bhavana is that it really helps us to sort out what really matters. And I think a lot of us are going through that in our lives when everything has changed so much. We're beginning to question, well, what's really important? And the Metta Bhavana, I think, gives us a really good grounding, a really good sort of basis for sorting that out. So rather than waking up in the morning and thinking about all the tasks we've got to do and so on, in a way, waking up in the morning, doing the Metta Bhavana, just thinking about ourselves, those close to us, other people, friends, and the world in general. In a way, that can become the whole sort of basis for what we do in our day. Ideally, with the Metta Bhavana, everything that we do in our day is an expression. It kind of flows out of the connection we have with a real heartfelt loving kindness, a heartfelt connection with the life in ourselves and other people. So, we can think about what we do in the day. Is everything that we do in our day an expression of loving kindness, either to ourselves, other people, the world in general? Has it got that feeling of metta, of universal loving kindness? Is it imbued with that sort of quality? If it isn't, then maybe we could think about not doing it, if that's possible. We can just begin to think about what springs from the Metta Bhavana and what doesn't, and live our lives on that basis. The fifth thing about the Metta Bhavana is that it's a really good antidote to anxiety. Now, of course, doing the Metta Bhavana isn't going to change the situation in the world. It's not going to remove all the uncertainty in the world. But I think a lot of the time when we're experiencing anxiety, it's a kind of worry about what we should do and what we shouldn't do. So if it is kindness that's kind of imbuing all our actions through the day, then at least we know we're moving in the right direction. We might not always get it right, but we're essentially moving in the right direction. So we don't need to worry about, am I doing the right thing or not? We just do the best we can from a kind heart. So there you go, 5 good reasons to practice the Metta Bhavana every day. It keeps us connected to each other. It's a daily reminder to check in with yourself and your own needs to be happy. It frees us from the prison of our own self-preoccupation. It reminds us about what really matters in life. It helps us to sort that out. And then fifthly, it's an antidote to anxiety. So maybe we could all give that a try. I hope that. And yeah, if we do, try it out, and perhaps we could check in with each other, see how that goes. So I hope that helps. Till then, take care.